spoilers, duh. Can you believe the ending of Volume 1? Oh my gosh, Will throwing out his hand and using his new powers to control the Demogorgons is so freaking cool. They completely 180'd his character so hard from that scared little kid with a bowl cut to this insanely sick superhero who is now stronger than 11, which is crazy. I mean, seeing him Vecna's curse the Demogorgons, oh my goodness, I was yelling on my couch. It was such a cool scene. Okay, so I hope that didn't spoil anything for anyone. I'm assuming everyone's finished watching all 4 episodes of Volume 1 now because I don't know how you couldn't watch them all by now. I was so blown away when Will first wipes the blood away from his nose. I got goosebumps. They really completely changed his character in like the last 15 minutes of that episode. And Vecna 2.0 is so different from Season 4, it is crazy. His new look is very interesting, but that left hand, oh my goodness, it is so cool they gave him more dynamic attacks with the vines making up his body, and his monologue, what was that about? Him using all the rest of the children as vessels for the Mind Flare is going to be crazy. We are going to get so many answers in Volume 2, I cannot wait. But we need to sit down and talk about Volume 1 first, because I haven't been able to sleep since I watched it. I instantly started working on 3 or 4 different videos just to get all my thoughts out of my head. Make sure you go down and subscribe right now because we will be doing a lot of videos over the next couple weeks before Volume 2 comes out. Now, this season has taken 3 years for them to create, which is so long for a TV show, but holy cow was it worth it. I hate the long wait, but I would rather them not rush something as big as this final season. And I was genuinely impressed for how big Season 5 feels compared to Season 4, which felt massive as well. Seeing Henry Creel put on this nice facade to befriend Holly in this fantasy world, this altered memory from Henry's childhood, is so cool. It's crazy that she's on the wall with all the other kids in the wormhole room, and he's just pumping them full of particles just like he did to Will in Season 1, which I can't wait to see more Season 1 flashbacks, explaining more behind the scenes questions we have. Each season, the opening shot always comes back later in the season to be very important, and I can't wait for that this season. Volume 2 is going to be so insane, but the fact that Henry gifted Holly music out of all things, the one thing that can save her from his curse, is wild. Although she isn't actually listening to it. Her physical body isn't, at least. It's just her conscience and Henry's memory that is hearing it, which means this specific music can't save her. And the Max reveal was so cool. I love that she's been living in the cave system from the First Shadow Stageplay. This is a repressed memory Henry has, a memory that is so traumatic his brain has blocked it out and put up barriers, not letting him access it. This is just like Elle had in Season 4. Brenner was trying to help her unlock her memory from the night of the massacre so she could regain access to her powers. And now Henry has a similar memory from when he was first infected by the Mind Flare. If you haven't already, go watch the last video where I break down the entire stage play, because this cave memory is what Will's Mind Flare infection memory is to him. Do you remember how traumatic this was for us, let alone Will? Well, this is Henry's memory of when that happened to him. And it's so cool Max doesn't know why this is happening, but she's taking advantage of it and hiding from him here. And seeing Max get to explain everything to Holly without them cutting away like they always do was so cool. I've wanted to see one of these conversations for so long. These moments where the different groups catch back up and fill each other in on all of their adventures and tell them what they've learned and accomplished, or even the new conversations when they bring in new people into the group and they have to fill them in on everything about the Upside Down and the paranormal activities that happens in Hawkins. I always want to see these, and this is the first time they really showed us this happening on the screen without skipping over it entirely. I'm just so freaking happy to see the First Shadow Stageplay is in Season 5, and not just referenced either, but the actual scenes from it are in the show. This is so cool, seeing Max walk through his memories all the way back to the one from 1959, the one where he falls in love and almost becomes 11. The good guy that was supposed to defeat the Mind Flare is so cool. After this video, you have to go watch that stage play breakdown so you understand Season 5. I'm also going to make another video on it soon because I have a lot I want to talk about this scene specifically. Some of the cast have said that certain moments from the play will be very important in Season 5, along with a very special someone that we're going to have to talk about. We also finally got to see where Nancy gets her fighting spirit from. The Wheeler house attack was so terrifying. Karen absolutely blew me away. She stood her ground and did more damage to that Demogorgon than the entire military was able to do with all their weapons in the end. It was so cool to see her finally get that moment and be introduced to the Upside Down in maybe the most brutal way possible. She was always that 80s parent who had no idea where her kids were, and now she's fist fighting a Demogorgon, fighting for her life for her first encounter. I think with how little she had, she overperformed a lot of other people who have been face to face with a Demogorgon. It was really intense. I was really hoping Karen would have her moment here, and they really gave her one. She really put up a fight. It's so cool seeing the Demogorgons get so much screen time already this season. It's so crazy watching them constantly jump around and rip holes in time and space, making these temporary portals to and from the Upside Down. It's so cool to finally see this. We got a quick glance at the aftermath of this way back in season 1, but to see them constantly doing this, frequenting going to Hawkins, is crazy. The silo portal was so cool, and seeing the kids be so organized as they are this season was really nice. It's cool to see how professional their operations have become since the events of season 4. The Home Alone traps at the Turnbow house were very much them going on the offensive, taking control of this encounter as they make the Demogorgon do what they want and end up tagging it so they can track it and follow it into the Upside Down. It was just so cool to see, and it's really neat that we get to see the mirror effect as someone goes through a portal and everything flips as they come out on the other side. It's pretty interesting. I already have the urge to sit down and rewatch everything. But the ending of episode 4 is so crazy, an entire finale on its own, and it's only the halfway point of this season. Will unlocking his upgraded powers is so cool. I was so shocked at how well they executed this reveal. The whole scene, my jaw was dropped on the floor. I'm just so happy that out of all the things they teased leading up to this season, they didn't tease this in the slightest before it came out. Seeing him control all these Demogorgons that he couldn't see, but that he was connected to, the ones he could feel, is so amazing. He's finally putting his season 1 curse to use. It was always this thing that changed him, that made his life different ever since. Anyone would think it's a curse, these nightmares, this connection to the hive mind. But there's a line from the First Shadow Stageplay where Henry Creel, as a boy, is trying to push away the girl he gets close with and has a crush on, and she tells him, "What if what happened to you is not a curse, but a blessing? It's not a mistake, but a miracle." And that's exactly what they did to Will. For so long, this was a curse to him, and now it will be the thing that saves them. The thing that might end the Mind Flare and Vecna and save the world. It's just so crazy that Robin is Will's mentor this season. I absolutely love that they're pairing them up to help him deal with all of his repressed feelings. It's just crazy that Robin is his mentor, just like Henry was to Eleven in MK Ultra. He taught her how to use her emotions to unlock her true power. And now Robin is basically telling Will the exact same thing without even realizing it. Like she just convinced Will to embrace who he was and to embrace those feelings that confuse him and that are scary. And then as Will is watching the Demogorgon about to kill Mike, the person he loves, it unlocks his true potential, his upgraded powers, allowing him to save Mike and the other people he loves. I think Robin is being there for Will this season in a way that Jonathan wished he could have back in season 4. He tried, but it's just not the same. Jonathan loves Will, but he doesn't have the right answers that Robin has found recently. But I wonder how much Vecna knows. I'm honestly surprised he didn't kidnap Will and take him with him into the Upside Down. Vecna grabbed him and tells him that he is kidnapping these children to reshape the world. He's going to use them for the Mind Flare's bidding to fully release the Mind Flare into the real world, freeing it from Dimension X so that it can conquer this world. And Vecna chose these children because they are so weak. Their bodies and their minds are small and scared to him. They are easily controlled, just like he learned Will was in season 1. It's pretty interesting because in the VR game with Jamie Campbell Bower voicing Vecna and Matthew Modine voicing Brenner speaking to Henry, which is actually the Mind Flare, it shows us in November of 1984, right after season 2, that Vecna tried to take over the other kids' minds as well. Vecna and the Mind Flare were searching for Eleven, and to find out where she was hiding, Vecna travels to Mike's basement where the boys are playing D&D, and he tries to go into each of the boys' mind to learn where Eleven is hiding. And Vecna's unsuccessful at infiltrating Dustin, Lucas, and Mike's mind because Eleven has made them confident. And Vecna realizes it's not as easy as he thought. The only reason he was able to infect Will's mind is because he already knew his fears. But since all of these new kids in season 5 don't know about Eleven or aren't as strong as they need to be to ward off mental intruders, Vecna is slowly befriending them one by one and has now taken each and every one of them into his wormhole lair and will be trapping them on the wall and pumping Mind Flare particles into their bodies. To him, they are the perfect vessels. He learned that children were best for this because of how easily Will broke in season 1 and 2. Vecna tells Will that he showed him what was possible, and then he says some minds do not belong in this world. And then we see Will's memories of his feelings for Mike. Is Vecna saying that because of those feelings, Will shouldn't exist in this world? He tells him that his mind belongs in Vecna's world as he points to his head. Vecna or Henry's monologues have always been a bit confusing, but this one is even more so. I don't know what they were trying to say with this last line. It might have just been Vecna preying on Will's fears and insecurities, and that was it. But throughout season 4, they made a point to say that as a child, young Henry Creel was different from the other children, just like Will was. They made a big effort to constantly draw similarities between the two, with the isolation, the mind flare drawings. And now we know Henry experienced something similar as a child. Just like Will was infected, Henry too was a victim of the mind flare. Originally in season 4, when he was mentoring 11 and secretly helping her escape, I wondered if he originally wanted her to be his apprentice. If he wanted them to leave Hawkins' lab together and he would continue teaching her and raising her to show her how to get stronger. But now I wonder if this is what he's going to try to do to Will when he learns he has powers. Because Vecna left. He's gone. And then Will unlocked his new powers. So it's possible that Vecna doesn't know what he's up against yet, but you have to remember, just like Will is connected to the hive mind, so is Vecna. And just like Will was able to use his connection to spy on Vecna, Vecna too is also able to use Will to spy on him and his friends. So there's a good chance Vecna knows that Will has had these new upgrades and we just didn't get to see his reaction. I'm sure Vecna will try manipulating Will to try to get him to fall to the dark side and turn on his friends and fight 11, which would be really cool and interesting, but honestly right now, Will is the next most powerful user. His powers, picking up multiple Demogorgons at the same time and cracking their bones, is so much more powerful than what we've seen 11 do. And usually, when she used her powers for something big like that, she passes out and has to recharge her battery. But when Will did it, he looked straight at the camera with the coldest stare and just wiped the blood away from his nose in slow motion. He didn't even pass out. It's crazy how powerful they made him. And if you watch the First Shadow, you'll know that the reason for this is because Will and Vecna are the same. Henry got his powers from being infected with the mind flare particles that were from Brenner's father, and Will got his powers from being infected in season 2. But 11 was different. She was synthetic. She was manufactured by Brenner. And since Brenner wanted to make more of Henry, he was actually contracted by the US government to make human superhero weapons for the sole purpose of remote assassination. And since he didn't have any mind flare particles and a gate wasn't open for Brenner to aid the mind flare in infecting these children, he instead took Henry's blood that is a special blood type. When you get sucked into Dimension X, or the mind flare goes inside of you, it changes your blood type. And Brenner took this and gave blood transfusions to all the pregnant mothers, including Terry Ives, and as a result of this, the children were born with powers. But they were never as strong as Henry. 11 was the closest in power, and they haven't revealed why yet. Maybe Terry Ives got more blood transfusions than the others in hopes of making stronger children. Like Brenner was just gradually increasing to see how far he could go without losing the subject. But when these tests ended with 11, even though she was the strongest yet, she was still the result of Henry's powers. She was not given her own from the mind flare. But Will, on the other hand, was, making him stronger than 11. It honestly makes me wonder if they're going to try to use all these new children as vessels for the mind flare, and they will too use his powers. Will's new powers are just so awesome, but it's just so nice to finally see him happy. Will has smiled more in these last 4 episodes than he has in the entirety of the last 4 seasons combined. It's crazy. This really is the season of Will. I'm just still in shock from that ending. Comment what you thought about this massive reveal. I'm going to go rewatch everything now, and I will see you very soon with another video. Peace.